A very good morning to you. Welcome, and this is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips to give you great insights and strategies on how you can become a great entrepreneur. And for the day-to-day people, we help you become financially independent in the future. Karibu sana. My name is Angela Kabete. You can choose to interact and engage with us on our social media handles. Utuambie unatutazama ukiwa wapi. I'm so glad to hear from you. Well. On today's edition of Money Monday, we're discussing something that is really good, something that is going to help you grow financially as a day-to-day person, as an entrepreneur. Trust me, it's going to help you grow. And let's start by asking you, where should your money sleep in this year 2026? Unaweka pesa zako wapi? Is it in the bank? Is it in the bonds? Is it in the money market? And that's why today our topic that is different types of investments. And today we're going to check out that is the bonds and the money market funds. And when it comes to the bonds and the money market fund, did you know that in Kenya today, money market funds are now offering returns around, that is 10 to 13% annually, while government bonds are offering 14 and 16% depending on the tenure. Did you know that? Well, if you don't know that, please make sure that you take a note of that. Meanwhile, inflation has been hovering around, that is 5% to 7%, meaning if your money is just sitting, that is Bond and Drew Associates. Now, for that, I will welcome him to the show. Very good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Angela.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're well?
Yeah.
Wow, it's on a Monday talking about money.
Sure.
Yeah. And today, being on a Monday, we're talking about something
that has grown to more than 100,000, 20,000, or you have 120,000. That is investment. And investment is in every aspect of our life. All of us, we are doing investment in one way or another. It could be somebody has invested in agricultural, farming, and whatever. But for our case today, Angela, as you have said, we are basically narrowing down to what we call financial instruments, kind of, and it's basically the investment in bonds and investment in money market, and even bonds. We have something close to bonds for just same family, because they are being issued by the government. It's known as treasury bills, treasury bonds, and we also have investment even in the Capital Markets Authority, investment in stock markets, like you are buying shares. Recently, we had Kenya Pipeline. I think the deadline to submit if you want to purchase shares of Kenya Pipeline is I think tomorrow, 24th, if I'm not wrong. That is still an investment. And Angela, basically when you talk about smart investment, somebody may want to, smart investment is basically, and that is basically what ideally should be with investment, because you want to have your money that you have put aside for the purpose of you earning money, return. And you know, there are various categories of returns or even rates of returns. You can invest, you find that you earn an interest of or a return of, let's say, 8%, 5%. So when you do a smart investment, basically you want to maximize returns that are being generated from those various investments.
I love that. And now, because we're talking about that is the different types of investments, what am I supposed to consider, or what is somebody out there supposed to consider when choosing a place to invest their money, or when choosing the products on where they're going to invest their money?
Yeah. Thank you, Angela. And normally when we do an advice to individuals in terms of investment, you look at the various aspects, like the return. You are looking at the liquidity. You're even looking at the age of a person, and the various investment vehicles which are there. And because you can have a return where the rate of return is high, but again the risk of that, like investing in, let's say, stock shares in securities exchange, it's considered as a risk in terms of you know, you can invest, let's say you buy today shares of a company is, let's say, shillings 10, and then after a year the market value of those is, let's say, per share, it's, let's say, 4 shillings or even more. Or you purchase at let's say 10 shillings, but now 1 year down the line, the market value is 4 shillings. Say that when you want you want to sell, you will sell at a loss. But again, like for example, Angela, when Safaricom issued the initial public offer known as IPO the first time, when they were issuing shares to the market, you know, Safaricom was not in the Nairobi Securities Exchange before, and they issued at shillings 5. So once IPO, once it was settled, now the shares are trading in Nairobi Securities Exchange, its market value went down to 2 shillings. It went down. So it means people. You had invested 5 shillings, but now it has gone down to 2 shillings. But again, over time, the same shares you purchased at 5 shillings some years ago. So now we are talking of around 30 shilling. So I was bringing in that aspect, that example, where high returns, high risk, low risk, low returns. So you can have like investing in, let's say, treasury bills. The return may be low, but chances of you getting back your money is very high. We have never heard of a government that is bankrupt or a government that has failed to pay. So the return in that case is low, but the risk is also low. So you find like for example, somebody purchased Kenyan shares recently. That was 2004, 2003, towards the end of 2003. The market value was 2 shillings. But as we talk now, the market value of those shares, shillings 9 as of end of this February. So that is a rise of around 7 shillings. So assuming, Angela, you purchased, let's say, 100,000 shares. By then that was 200,000 shillings. So 200,000 shillings, if you can sell now, it's 700,000 shillings. So you would have made a profit of that is 500,000 within a period of 2 years by only investing let's say 200,000 in plus now there are dividends which have been paid by Kenyan over those years, where that's 0.6 per share. I think recently 0.9 per share. So again, when you want to determine the profitability or returns that you have generated out of that, is basically you're adding the capital gain is basically you purchase at 5 let's say at 2 shillings, but now you can sell at 9 shillings. That is actually it's a profit, a capital gain of 7 shillings. That is a capital gain of 7 shillings. So
you know, right now I'm sure viewers kuna mtu anasikia sahi anataka kuinvest because of what you're saying. But it feels like it's a good thing, it feels like it's a game of numbers. But why are there few people who are investing? Why? Even if the returns are good. Is it that people are scared of the risks? Can you say that?
I can say sometimes basically it may be out of ignorance, or it may be even somebody may find an investment elsewhere where you can generate more returns than you'd have generated from other aspects. But again, it depends on what you are doing. Like if let's say you are a business person, somebody may decide I am able to roll over like let's say a capital of 200,000. Say that at the end of the year I'll have made more than 200,000. And he or she knows the nature of the business he is dealing with. So you find that person will opt to invest in those other investment vehicles other than the investment in this. But for a person who is, let's say, you are engaged in activities, like even for a salaried person or a person who's may not find time to go roll over in terms of business, may just say, let me to do this investment. And like let's say somebody may decide to invest in real estate, which is still an investment. Because that person sees he is able to generate more returns out of that as opposed to this. Otherwise, investment in securities, the treasury bonds, the money market. It's a smart investment in terms of you have heard of passive income. You still earn your income even when you are relaxing wherever you are. So you find some are opting to invest in that as opposed to the others. And again, I can say it's out of ignorance, because sometimes even not doing And the reasons why we as financial advisors are present is basically to give advice where it is important, because you can do calculation. Like somebody may say, let me invest in real estate, let me build houses and then rent out those houses, calculate the return that you are generating from that and all the costs related to that investment, and then look at now these other investment, like investment in treasury bonds. Government has been issuing even infrastructure bonds, Angela, where you earn an interest of 18% per year. And you know, let's say when you invest, let's say shillings 1 million, and you know treasury bonds will cover a longer period. It can be a treasury bond of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, up to 30 years in Kenya. In other countries, it's more than that. So it means you are getting 18% of that investment. If you had invested, let's say 1 million, that is 18% of 1 million. That is 180,000 per year, and there is nothing you are doing in as far as that. So every 6 months you are getting half of that amount, and then after now, the 10 years, the government will give back to you the million that you invested. Yeah.
It sounds so good, so fabulous. Pesa yako inalala wapi this year 2026? Are you choosing to invest your money, or is your money sleeping in the bank? Well, let's dive into the key objectives, that is helping people understand that is bonds and the money market. And let's start with that is the bonds. For someone who is watching us right now, what is a bond in simple terms?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. A bond is basically as an instrument which is issued by government, and you are lending the government. Let me simplify by you are lending the government. So you give government, let's say, 1 million shillings, or let's say you have 1 million shillings, and the government will be giving you interest every year. Then at the end of a period, you had agreed with the government that you are lending, let's say, for 10 years. Then after 10 years, the government gives back to you your investment if it was 1 million. So in between, you have earned an interest of whatever amount, whatever the rate which was given over that period. So if it's, let's say, 18% infrastructure bond, and that is the best one, because it's 18%, 16%, 17%, and there is no tax on that. It is tax-free. Infrastructure bonds. So interest earned from that is tax-free. So if, let's say, you invested 1 million, so every year you are getting 180,000 for 10 years if it was a 10-year treasury bonds. So 180,000 for 10 years, that is around 1.8 million. So you'll have 1.8 million, and the government gives back to you the 1 million that you invested. That is now the bond. There is a sister to that, known as treasury bills. Treasury bills now are shorter. We have 90 days treasury bills, 181 days, and then those are, it's a short term way in which the government is borrowing from us. So when we talk of treasury bonds, treasury bills, it's basically we as persons, it could be individuals, it could be institutions like companies, banks, lending to the government.
And how high is the risk? Because you're saying later for example, that is the one that you have used. Let's use that is the infrastructure bond. You've said 18%. How high is the risk?
I can say in government, I can say there is no risk, because a possibility of government failing to repay. We have never had, it has never happened anywhere in the world that the government has failed to pay back especially its domestic debt. External, they can just decline to pay, but that is just on the sovereignty of a nation. Yeah. So.
And if you say there is no risk, then when it comes to the inflation side, can you call it a risk? Because I believe it gets to affect it at some point. If it happens, does it affect it?
Yeah. Like you have, when you now bring in the element of inflation, otherwise the risk in terms of the government failing to repay, that one is out. But now these are the elements like the risk you are talking about, inflation. So if the inflation rate in, let's say, in a country rises above the interest rate which the government pays, then now it means you will have you will receive something which is less than what you had invested. Because you had expected 18% and you are receiving 18% because there is no risk in terms of default by the government. But now the earning becomes a negative in that case. Yeah.
Okay, and talking about inflation, that is when the bonds, let's compare it. Let's say if inflation is, let's say 5, I'm at 7%. What happens if someone keeps the money in normal savings account? Let's say I have that is someone who, let's use two people. A has invested pesa yake kwa bank, earning that is 2%, and I have my money that is in the bonds and I've invested, let's say for example 100,000, and then inflation rises up to 10%, to 7%. Will we be at the same rate when it comes to risk? Who is on the safer side?
Yeah, Angela, and you have brought in a key element when it comes to this. Was we are trying to chase inflation, even when we do calculation in terms of earning an interest of 18% versus now the inflation rate in a country. For in Kenya, we are talking about an inflation of around 5%. So when you do an investment and you get a return of, let's say, 18%, then basically you will have to reduce the inflation that has happened because prices have increased, and inflation is basically the general increase in prices. If you had invested your money elsewhere, earning an interest of, let's say 20%, let's say 20%, and the inflation is 5%, then it means your return is basically 20 minus 5. That is minus 5. That is the return, the net return. I was talking of the gross return initially, but now the net return, net of inflation. Then now when you factor, but instances where inflation is rising above the earnings, then it means we are losing kind of, because we had invested at a return of, let's say 18%, but the inflation is, let's say 30%, like what happened in Zimbabwe some years ago, where inflation rose to it went to 1,000,000%.
That's
you remember? Yeah. Where they were saying you are using a wheelbarrow carrying money to go purchase bread. So you are using a wheelbarrow to carry money to go purchase a bread. Then your bread unarudi nayo kwa mkono. Isaje watoto wasukume wheelbarrow. So basically the element of inflation, when you factor in this, then you are looking at when banks are even pricing the interest that they are charging in loans, they are factoring in issues like inflation, the credit risk, the risk of default to each third person. So that when we talk of, let's say 20% interest you have been charged by a bank, they are factored in the element of inflation, the credit risk, and all those. Same as us, even as we do investment, the element of inflation. But at least we are thankful in Kenya. At least the recent past we have seen some stability in the inflation. Even the element of foreign exchange losses and whatever, that again can be an aspect that you factor in.
Okay. And let's go for a short break. Then when we come back, we'll understand more about bonds and as well we get to define what is a money market and why. Tukiangalia statistics, many people are opting to go for money market. So for viewers, we're going for a short break. Make sure that you stay tuned. I believe that at least now you understand what we mean by the term smart investment and why would you choose to invest in a bond, a different kind of bonds that you can invest as a day-to-day person, making sure that your money doesn't sleep in the bank. It's working for you. Stay tuned. Right back after the short break. A very good morning to you and welcome back. This is a Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips and great insights on how you can become a great entrepreneur. And for the day-to-day people, we help you become financially independent in the future. And today in studio, we're talking about something that is good when it comes to the world of finance, something that might shift your financial lifestyle as a day-to-day person or as an entrepreneur. And I asked you, why is your money sleeping this year 2026? Unaweka wapi pesa? Are you positioning your money in the bank, Or are you choosing to make sure that your money is working for you as you do something else? And that's why today's studio we are discussing that is different types of investments. Specifically, we're checking out that is the bonds and the money market. And I'm not alone. I'm back with CPA Kitur, working with that is Bond and Drew Associates. Welcome back, Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
And another way, in the first segment, ulituelezea what is a bond, how does a smart investment look like. And since we've already defined what is a bond, then let me ask, because there are people out there, when they hear the term bond, they're having what is running in their minds. Probably they need millions to start investing in a bond, but how much do I need as a day-to-day person?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Probably before I mention that, can I just mention something that I've heard you talking about, leaving money in the bank?
Yeah, sure.
You know, there is a way you can negotiate with the bank, but again, depending on how much you're having in the bank to sleep, you can negotiate with the bank for the bank to give you a certain interest rate.
Oh, really?
So let's say you have a million shillings, so you can negotiate with the bank. I'm leaving these million shillings, but now can we agree on the rate of interest? Because if you fail to pay, then I can remove this money, take it elsewhere. And you know, bank, their work is basically to receive deposits and then to lend. That is basically, except for the capital they have contributed, the bank money what they are lending is basically the deposits they have received from individuals. So they can receive deposits in terms of current account where the bank is not paying any interest to the depositor, but lends the same money to another person at an interest of let's say 20%, 15%. That is basically the business of the bank. So you can negotiate an interest rate, and if you are able to negotiate a higher return than even the investment in the infrastructure bonds or even in the bonds in the government, well and good. But now,
it sounds interesting. I believe people should opt for that.
Okay. So just what were you mentioning about
that is when it comes to the bonds itself, I say that for the day-to-day person, for the common mwananchi pale nje kisikia the term bond, something that is clicking in their mind is a million is needed to invest, but how much do I need generally to invest?
Thank you, Angela. And you know, when you add when you hear investing in treasury bonds, it looks like a big thing. And again, even the process has been simplified. So currently, the minimum is 50,000, and the government wants to bring it down. Because I remember there was a time they were talking about something. I can't remember the name it was, but you could purchase government securities using M-Pesa. So in as low as even 1,000 shillings you purchase treasury bonds. But as of now, the minimum amount is 50,000, and it's in tranches of 50,000. So 50,000, 100,000, and you can invest even to a billion, depending on how much the government wanted when they issued that treasury bonds. And you know, treasury bonds, it's basically a way in which government is financing its operation. We have heard of government debts. Government debts, we have domestic and external, and treasury bonds form the larger part of domestic debts which the government owes to individuals and institutions, both within and outside the country. So if we as individuals, you can invest a minimum of 50,000, and above that you are able to purchase and it has been made as simple by the central bank. Was you just open an account known as a DAO CDS account, and there is an application in the phone, smartphones and whatever, which you can link together with your account, and it has been linked with those treasury bonds. So when you want to purchase, you just follow some prompts as part of the DAO CDS account, then you will have made your application to purchase the bonds to lend to the government. And then now the process will be initiated by the central bank, after which if in agreement then your account will be debited. That is to say, your account money from your, if it's, let's say you have an account with Equity Bank and you have given instructions as per that Dow CDS account, the amount will be removed or debited. You have given instruction, and then now you wait for government for 6 months. Government will have given you half of the interest. So if it's 18%, and you had invested, let's say, $1 million, then 6 months you receive 90,000, and after 6 months 90,000, the way it is. Yeah.
It sounds good. And you say that you need a lump sum that actually it's a lump sum, 50,000. It's a lump sum that is 50,000. And would you advise for someone to take a debt, 50,000, to invest that money in the bonds, or is it a wrong way?
And we'll mention about money market,
Yeah,
because
after this.
So you're saying 50, debt, now you are bringing in a very good discussion in terms of debt, and that is why I was telling you, when you do calculation, you look at the returns, versus what somebody can say, I am a member of a SACCO, and I am able to borrow, let's say, 300,000, and the interest rate is, let's say, 10% on a reducing balance. So when you borrow that amount from SACCO, so you'll be repaying at a rate of 10%, and then you have invested in buying treasury bonds of 300,000. So you'll be earning your return of 18% as you pay the SACCO a return of 10%. So you'll have made a profit of 7%. So it could be borrowed for a period of, let's say, 3 years, a treasury bond. So by 3 years you will have repaid the 300,000, and you continue earning the interest from the government. It was a treasury bonds for 10 years. So it is possible, depending on your credit worthiness, even when you don't have money, that you can borrow elsewhere. But you do calculation. Calculation is the very key. And in that case, now the issue of inflation will not be in, because even when you borrow at 10%, they'll still be affected by inflation on the other side, even as you earn at an interest of 18%. I've seen people borrowing money through institutions like SACCOs and investing that amount in the government bonds.
And it works for them.
And it works for them. And you build that portfolio. It reaches an extent where you just, your life is relaxing, because it's a passive income. You don't need to work for that. To earn that 18%, there is nothing you are expected to do. So somebody may do a calculation, let's say investment in real estate, where you are earning real estate here in Kenya. It has been average around 7-8% return on investment. So if you had invested, let's say, 10 million in real estate, building houses and renting those houses, the rate here in Kenya, but depending on how prime the place is, it's ranging around 7%, 8% to 10%. But you still have some engagements, some activities to ensure that your investment, in that case, manyumba uligirendisha, you still need to go check if everything is okay. At times, even tenants is not fully occupied, or some tenants are even defaulted. So it's at a rate of around 10%. And then this other one is 18%, and there is no extra activity that you are doing.
You needed to do.
Just relax. It could be you are in Malawi relaxing.
So it feels like you're choosing that is bonds over the real estates. You did that, but anyway, I believe that our viewers have taken something when it comes to that. And now let's define something that is the money market. Have you heard about money market fund? Have you tried it? Is it working for you? Do you have an idea what we mean by this term, money market fund? We just hear people mentioning money market fund uko nje na kwa TV. Well, let's help you understand what do we mean by this term, money market fund. When should you start investing in a money market fund? How much is needed? And let's make everything easy for you. And CPA Kitur, maybe people know money market fund, they have heard about it, but let's start by defining what is a money market fund and how does it look like?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. And we have been mentioning of bonds, securities, and all those. Now we have the money market. Money market is basically a fund that has been created. There is something known as fund managers, but in relation to capital markets and whatever regulators regulating that. So where we as individuals or even institutions, we put in our small amount of money, like collectively, although we may not know one another, that money market fund will do the money they have collected, pulled from various individuals, institutions. Now they can do investment in even high risk investment in treasury bonds, investment in securities, the stock exchange and the like. So money market is basically a short-term way in which you can invest your money, and the minimum is as low as even any amount that can be transacted via M-Pesa. Though in some instances like Britam, Samele and others, money market funds, they are talking of around a minimum of 1,000 where you invest 1,000 shillings. So you can build that. You can be building that money market let's say around August. We know the government may issue infrastructure bonds or even the treasury bills. So you can build your money market fund account where you are putting 1,000, 2,000. Say that by the time August reaches, probably you'll have accumulated. Then you remove now that money, then you do in probably long term. And the money market is so, I can call it so liquid. Liquid in the sense that you are only expected to give a notice of 48 hours to withdraw your money. So in 48 hours, 24 hours, money will have hit your account. So it's a short-term way of investment, and you're earning an interest of around there are some giving around 10%, as high as even to 17%. Like Lofty Cowan is giving an interest of around 15%, if I'm not wrong, 16%. So and you know that interest is compounded on a daily basis. So you can invest 1,000 today and leave it lying for 1 week. You'll have earned some interest at the end of that 1 week, and it's being compounded. Compounded means even interest is being earned on the interest you earn. Like let's say today you invested, let's say 10,000. Assuming an interest is, let's say, 200 shillings. So you'll have 10,200 shillings the following day. Then when they will be calculating the interest the following day, it will be based on 10,200. That way up to the end of the year, as long as your money is lying. So money market basically is for you a short-term way in which you are investing. And again, it depends on the liquidity requirements of an individual. Could be a retired person who requires money more often. Somebody of old age may opt to invest in money market where he or she can withdraw his money within the shortest time possible, as opposed to the bonds. And by the way, the issue of the bonds, when you invested, if it's 10 years, that amount will be returned after 10 years, not in between. Issues to do with securities, treasury bills. Treasury bills could be for 90 days, and it's a rate of around 10%. So in 90 days, 10% when computed annually, but if it's for 90 days and a proportional amount for 90 days. So your money will come back to you after 90 days or 180 days or even now 365. That is still under treasury bills are short term. So money market, it's basically a short term way of making an investment, and it's normally for situations where you want to just earn interest as you temporarily leave your money in the money market fund, as opposed to probably leaving your money in, let's say, a bank. So if, let's say, Angela, and you may want to purchase, let's say, a vehicle in December, so you can put your money not in treasury bonds, because when you invest in treasury bonds, you will get back after 10 years. It was a 10-year. So you can say, let me place this in the money market. You will be earning interest as you accumulate your money. So that when it reaches a time for you to acquire the asset you want to acquire, then your money will have grown.
And you mentioned something to do with compounding interest when it comes to the money market. And there are people out here, they usually say, actually something that even I saw on social media, that interest rate you're compounding, it's so little, but what is the power of compounding when it comes to this investment that people don't understand?
Yeah, you know, basically the power of compounding, we have a straight line, we have a flat rate to interest. So that when we say 10% and you invested $1 million, or let's say that 50,000, 10% of 50,000 is 5,000. So at the end of the year, you will have earned only 5,000 because it is a flat rate. But if it is compounding, you earn interest on even the interest that you had earned initially. Say that if it's 10% compounded and 10% flat rate, 10% flat rate at the end of a year, if it's let's say 50,000, you learn 5,000. But compounded, you learn even up to 12,000, 13,000, depending on how you have invested. Yeah.
And can someone choose to treat money market? Okay, I know it's investment, but as an emergency fund, because the liquidity it's so high and the access for a person to access that money, it's very fast. So can someone consider that as an emergency fund?
Sure. Yeah, also emergency funds are basically to solve some emerging issues, emergencies which may arise, and given the fact that you just need to give a notice of 24 to 48 hours, then it means that is an emergency fund. So money market qualifies as an emergency fund, and in accounting they treat it as cash equivalent. Cash equivalent is something that you can convert into cash within the shortest time possible, and it has insignificant risks in relation to that. So money market fund, even the treasury bills, those are funds for emergencies to solve your emerging issues. Yeah.
And let's talk about now that is the bonds versus the money market. You said that is for the bonds, the amount that I need as a day-to-day person to invest in a bond, that is 50,000. And let's say I have the 50,000, I have that is the money market here with me and have the bond with me. What will determine where I'm going to invest, that is either the bond or the money market? What should help me when it comes to choosing between the two?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Key ones are basically the returns and the liquidity. So liquidity in terms of when do you require this money back? If it's a 50,000, you may not require very soon. Then you can just invest in, let's say, treasury bonds. But if it's a money you know you may require very soon, then treasury, then money market may be better option. And you are looking at the return again. Keeping aside how when will you require that money, you may find some money market funds even are giving interest rate which are higher than the treasury bonds. We have been talking about infrastructure bonds, but we have the treasury bonds whose interest rates may go down to even to 12% or even 11%. They are talking about bringing it even down to 8%. So if they remain with, let's say, although when we have a rate of, let's say, 12%, you find even the money market funds rates are going down. Because as I was telling you about money market funds, it's basically like unit trust, like funds where individuals are coming together. They are pooling resources together so that they are able to purchase now these at the securities at a higher scale. Most like you may be having, let's say, 3,000. In that case, you cannot purchase treasury bonds because the minimum is, let's say, 50,000. But some you can pool with individuals. Some are bringing 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. So that at the end of it, let's say it's 200,000. That 200,000 you invest in treasury bonds. So when you look at the two, the relationship between the two, like when the infrastructure or the treasury bonds rates go down, you find even the interest rate in money market going down, because basically the funds which are being generated from money market funds are being invested by those institutions in the treasury bonds. Yeah.
And can you say that even the goals, the short-term versus the long-term goals, they should help someone in choosing a product to invest? Because you say that even there are some places they offer that is money market interest rate is 17%, and then we have that is the infrastructure that is 18%. They all sound good because the difference is only 1%. But can we say that the goals should help one choose that?
Which is basically that element of liquidity, because if you know you want that money to be returned, you may want to purchase, let's say, an asset in 3 months, or even you are putting it aside as you have 50,000 for emergencies. So that is a goal. This is for emergency. Or you want to purchase, let's say, an asset in 3 months. Then option you have no other options otherwise investing in bonds, unless there are other options. If we were to compare the two, because treasury bonds is a long term. You can access your money back in, let's say, 10 years if it was an infrastructure bond of 10 years. So the goal is the major aspect here when it comes to doing that. And call stroke liquidity. Why this 50,000 which I am investing, this 100,000 which I want to invest in money market fund or treasury bonds, what do I want to do with it at the end of it? A retired person, an older person may say, person has been given, let's say, retirement benefits of 5 million, assuming the person may say, instead of me going doing some other risky investments like even business and whatever, and my age, my strength is no longer allowing me, then let me invest in infrastructure bonds where I'll be earning even without me working. So that will be an assured way in which you are getting the interest for that period without any engagement.
Sounds interesting. And as you end up, because we have that is 3 minutes, what are the common mistakes that the day-to-day people or the entrepreneurs make when it comes to choosing the places to invest their money or the products to invest their money?
Yeah, thank you. Investing without knowledge, they say knowledge is power. When you utilize that knowledge, it gives you power. Because even investing, we are talking about investing in, let's say, securities exchange. You can do an investment that will end up eating your money. So you invested $1 million, but now if you want to sell them, you are selling at a figure which is far less than what you do. So those are a major mistake. Investing without knowledge on where to invest, and that is why we as financial advisors, we don't give we don't normally give a blanket advice on what to invest, because it's like going to hospital. If you go to hospital and you find every patient mwenye ameingia kwa line ama mwenye ameingia anatoka nje na Panadol or painkillers or even a specific kind of drug, then you'll find the koshidaba. So we normally see the individuals, the needs of that person, source of income, debt level. Because you may also find somebody, it could be you are paying a debt, you are repaying a loan at a rate of, let's say, 25%, and yet you are investing, let's say, an investment where you are earning an interest of 5%. So you at that case you are making a loss, because here you are repaying at an interest rate of 20%, but you have invested on this other side where you are earning an interest of 3%. In our case, in that case, we will advise that person, first of all, clear this or reduce this, so that the interest that you are repaying, if we are able to do away with this loan, where you are repaying 25% or 20%, you will be in a better position than even investing at an instance where you are earning, let's say, 5%, and you have an obligation on the other side. So those are some of the issues that
people make when it comes to choosing products to invest. For viewers, I believe we have learned something. I believe there is something that has stood out for you on the different kind of investments, especially that is for the bonds and the money market. And today, let your money, allow your money to start working for you. Where are you positioning your money today? Unaweka pesa kwa mifuko? Because CPA Kitur has helped us understand that there are different places that you can position your money, and your money can work for you today. That is when it comes to the world of investment. CPA Kitur, thank you so much for availing yourself for the show. I believe our viewers have learned a lot when it comes to the world of investment, and they're looking forward to having you more and more. And for those who are watching you, where can they access you when it comes to matters to do with financial consulting?
Yeah, thank you, Angela, and you are doing a good work in terms of giving the viewers knowledge in terms of finance. So I'm from Born and True, which is an audit company. We have our office in Nairobi headquarters, and a branch in Nakuru, Kisumu, and Mombasa. Yeah, so any of those branches, you can find us When myself, I am operating in all those, specifically the Nakuru branch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for availing yourself for the show. And for viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips to give you strategies on how you can become a great entrepreneur. And for the day-to-day people, will help you become financially independent in the future. My name is Angela Kabete. Till next time, have a productive day ahead. Bye-bye.